This is question number 58 for projectile motion launched at an angle. Again, like before, we do not know what v initial equals. It's right here. It's just a variable, v initial. We do, however, know the angle of 25 degrees to the horizontal. So right here we have a 25-degree angle. And there's a number of things that we're asked to find. The way we solve it will be putting together x and y. Even though we do not know v initial and we do know that it's at an angle, the first step we're going to make is to divide the initial velocity into x and y components. And even though we don't know the number, we're just going to use the vx as v0, which is the variable for now, times cosine of 25 degrees. Whereas Vy initial, again, it's initial because it does change, but Vx, I don't have to say initial because it's not going to change. There's no acceleration. We disregard a resistance. V initial y is going to be V0 times sine of 25 degrees. If we go for the time in the air, I know that the ball is going to go up and then fall back down. So I can use the same method we have used before, that is finding half time of the ball in the air, which will be this 25 degrees over change in t. That's half time again, right? So then I can say that my total time, change in t, is going to be 2 times negative v0 sine of 25 over negative 9.8. Sine of 25, 2, divided by negative 9.8. That is all a number. So I can replace change in t as v0. I can cancel my minuses right here. And then grab your calculator and figure out what this 2 over 9.8 times sine of 25. 0.0862. That's the amount of time in the air, not half time, but the total time. Then I'm going to go back to my horizontal displacement, and two things I know. Change in x is going to be v0 cosine of 25. And if I multiply that by time, that will be my change in x. My other change in x can be found as 10 plus 5.5 times change in t. So that's the amount of horizontal displacement between the ball where it was launched and the ball where it was caught. And I can set them equal to each other. v0 cosine of 25 times change in t equals 10 plus 5.5 change in t. Instead of change in t, I can then go ahead and plug this. Why am I doing this? Right now, with this equation, I have two variables. Everything else is a number. With one equation and two variables, there's nothing I can do. But if I incorporate a second equation, which is also true, I have a system of equations then, and I can do substitution. That is me replacing this change in t here with this change in t here. Then I go back to continuing my equation, equals 10 plus 5.5 times 0.0862 times v0. So ultimately what we're arriving at is a quadratic equation. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to graph this. So here's the graph. We have the negative and the positive 1475. There you go. So we answered the question about initial velocity, 1475 meters per second. The amount of time the football spends in the air. You know, the easiest would be to put this in play. V initial 14.8 times sine of 25, all divided by 9.8. Grab your calc and plug it in. Gets me 1.27, well, actually 1.28 seconds. And again, that is the total time. So that's B, the amount of time the football spends in the air. And then distance between the quarterback and the receiver when the catch is made. So 10 plus 5.5 times 1.28 gives me 17.0 meters, 1704 technically, but 3 sig figs and all that. So overall, our method was we expressed Vx and Vy first and foremost. That is always your very first step. Express, even if you don't know initial velocity, express it as x and y components. Then see what you can find from the data that you know. So I got that. And then I also knew my trusty equation for displacement that is horizontal, which is horizontal velocity times time. Boom. How do I find time? I always know how to find half time. If it's a full trajectory, I can figure out the half time dividing initial vertical by time, by g. And then if I want full time, then I multiply that by 2, right? Then I substituted this whole equation for time into the horizontal displacement, eliminating one of the variables, because before that I had one equation with 2 variables, which is unsolvable unless you have 2 equations with 2 variables, which we do. In that way, and the rest of it was just pure algebra.